Hey, what's up everybody? Jake here and welcome to the hobby. In today's video, we are talking about the recent price jump in modern Pokemon card prices. There's been a bunch of cards over the past 2 or 3 weeks that have jumped up 100 to 150% in terms of value, which is pretty astronomical, which means some cards are doubling in value. And for a card to go from a $50 card to a $100 card in the course of a couple of weeks is actually not that abnormal. It's actually pretty common in the Pokemon card hobby, but a lot of people are pointing towards different market manipulations and pointing fingers at different reasons and factors. So let's talk about these cards. Which ones do I think are legitimately going up in value and which one has the potential for some market manipulation here? And there's a lot of risk that comes along with that because there's so many different factors for a card to go up in price. So we're going to definitely dive into that in today's video. Before we get started, I would like to thank Collectr for sponsoring today's video. If you haven't heard, Collectr is the best way to digitize your trading card collection. I've been using Collectrs for a long time and I've given them multiple shout outs on my own channel. So when they asked me to partner up, it was an easy yes. If you'd like to check out Collectr, all you gotta do is click the link down in the description to check them out. The app is super easy and functional. All you gotta do is type in base set Charizard, add the card to your collection, and there you go. You've added a base set Charizard to your collection. They make it super easy to track what cards value are depending on their grades or condition, and they even tell you the population reports of every single card. It is super functional and an easy way for me to track my collection. If you'd like to try out Collectr, be sure to check out the link down in the description. You can even see my own personal showcase about what cards I have in my collection and see what my collection value is currently at. So if you would like to understand what all the stuff in the backgrounds are and you don't know what certain boxes are, you can see my whole entire collection available on Collectr. It's super fun and intuitive. Definitely give them a try. Thank you again to Collectr for sponsoring today's video. So what are some of the modern cards that are currently jumping up the most in value? Most of these cards that are jumping up in value are from the late Sword and Shield era. It seems like that's all we're talking about over the past couple of months, but there's just been a ton of movements in this scene, and some of it I think is absolutely legitimate. Some of the ones that have definitely spiked quite a bit in value include something like the Gengar V Alt Art V Max. This is a super cool card and I'm not surprised that it's jumping up quite a bit in value. I think it has the potential to rival the Umbreon V Max from Evolving Skies. This card has had plenty of controversy. Fusion Strike has had a lot of controversy. I think the biggest one from Fusion Strike was that someone from the trading card factory stole hundreds upon thousands of alt art pulls from Fusion Strike and tried to sell them and offload them on the market, which makes the risk of Fusion Strike kind of iffy because that story definitely leaves a poor taste in my mouth, especially for just anyone that's into Fusion Strike. But that was a year ago and things have started to cool down and people are starting to appreciate the art. Regardless of the rumors or the story, I think Gengar V Max is just a brilliant looking card and you definitely deserve it inside of your collection. It's just a super cool card. Other cards that have also seen similar spikes in values are big chase cards from other sets. Some of the other cards that have been jumping up in value include the Giratina V from Lost Origin. I don't think that one's a surprise. There's just a ton of speculation right now in Lost Origin. People are really excited about this set, calling it the next Evolving Skies. So I can definitely see a push for that just because it has a lot of similarities to Evolving Skies, having a really big and popular chase card. And along with the speculation from Lost Origin, another card that has jumped up in value is the Magikarp from Paldea Evolved, the illustration rare Magikarp. This one actually surprises me a little bit just because Paldea Evolved is still a very recent set. The Magikarp has jumped up well over 100%. It's going close to $100 for a ungraded copy, which is staggering. That's the value of big chase cards in any other sets. That's like the value of a Alt Art Charizard. And this is just an illustration rare Magikarp. Now, the Magikarp was actually my card of the year when it was released. I voted it card of the year. I think it's that good of a card. So I absolutely understand why people are gravitating towards this card. However, Paldea Evolved isn't that old of a set. During the holiday season, I was able to pick up Paldea Evolved booster boxes for as low as $80 a box. So this set is still readily available. You can pick up booster boxes of Paldea Evolved for $100. And to think the price of the Magikarp is going for $100, I don't think that's market manipulation. I do think that's just wide speculation. Market manipulation for me is if a very small group of people are picking up cards to move the whole entire market. And for me, this is speculation where it's many people, just widespread thought process that they're all doing the same thing. A bunch of people are all agreeing with each other on the market and making this move that they all believe the Magikarp has a lot more value, and Paldea Evolve is considered one of the best sets from this era. I would actually kind of disagree with that, but that's completely okay. We can have our opinions about which sets are the best ones, and that's completely fine. But I do think that it's just way too new for people to be collecting this heavily in Paldea Evolved. If you have the Magikarp inside your collection, regardless of what price point you buy it at, one copy I think is absolutely fine. But if you're hoarding a bunch of copies of the Magikarp, there's just potential risk, especially if you're picking them up for $100 a pop. But hey, this makes opening up Paldea Evolve just a lot of fun, so you never know. The fact that there's a $100 illustration rare inside of the box is exciting, and I think that's very cool. Talking about some other cards that have been jumping up in value, I think some of the ones that have been lagging behind are actually some of the big chase cards from other Sword and Shield sets, including the Charizard V and the Lugia V. These cards have seen about a 20 to 30% upward swing over the past couple of months, and that's no small feat, right? To jump 20 to 30% in a couple of months is kind of a big deal. But compared to other cards that are going up 100 to 150%, jumping up 20 or 30% is just not as interesting. So definitely some of these other cards are lagging behind. The Charizard I understand, the Lugia I kind of understand as well. They're kind of weak on the art side. I think the other big chase cards just have better artwork. The big chase cards like the Giratina V, the Umbreon V, and the Gengar V Max, those are just better art. It's debatable, but it seems like the market has spoken, and the best looking cards are the ones that are going to go up in value regardless of how rare they are. They have to be rare, but they also have to be really gorgeous looking art. Another one that's jumped up quite a bit is the Umbreon V from Evolving Skies. This one has doubled in value in the period of a couple of weeks, and people are pointing fingers at PokeRev. They're saying that PokeRev was the cause of this card going up in value because he said that it was one of his favorites, Umbreon, and that's when the card spiked in value. Now, I can actually understand that. I do think that there is some catalyst that caused this card to rise in value, but in all honesty, it probably needed to go up in value regardless. It was just kind of waiting for that dam to burst. The big reason why I think this card just makes sense that it's going up in value is that Evolving Skies is super expensive nowadays. And Evolving Skies booster box is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars right now. I don't even want to say a price out loud just because the prices are going up and swinging so quickly that by the soonest I say the price, it's going to be wrong anyway. So I'm just going to do a quick screenshot about what the current price of an Evolving Skies booster box is right now. And that's insanely expensive. And so the Umbreon V only has to go up because it is a very popular card, by the way. Umbreon alt art cards are just popular regardless of what cards they are. And this one hasn't moved at all. Pretty much since the release of Evolving Skies, it's been going for between, I would say, $60 to $80. It hasn't moved at all. And the prices on the booster boxes has only jumped up in value. I think it only required a catalyst event of someone saying, hey, I like this card, for the market to just suddenly open their eyes to it and see that happen. And it could have been me, it could have been someone else could have been the catalyst for it. In this instance, it might have been PokeRev, but I don't believe this is market manipulation. I believe this is the market doing what it's supposed to do, which is agreeing with itself. If a bunch of people agree a card is good and they all pick it up, then the card's value will go up. But that's literally how collectibles work. They go up in value if a bunch of people agree that they have value. That's all it really takes for any collectibles to go up in value, because at the end of the day, they're pretty cardboard. The value is based on what other people think they are. So let's talk about some cards that I think is actually being market manipulated, and that is in the most recent set, Temporal Forces. There's a bunch of cards in Temporal Forces that has doubled in value in the course of just a week or two. We're talking about the big chase cards from this set, including the Iron Crowns EX, as well as the recent Gengar Full Art Trainer card with Morty. There's also a couple of other cards inside of Temporal Forces that have seen similar levels of jump, but these two are the biggest offenders. And I will say that there is enough evidence here that it's most likely that these two cards are being market manipulated. However, there's just a ton of risk with trying to control the Pokemon card market, especially for a brand new set. The risk is so high that I think anyone that tries to do it is a dunce. It's a really stupid move, and there's a couple of reasons for that. The first biggest reason is that you have to put quite a bit of money into picking up a bunch of copies of these cards for them to actually rise in value. And the second big issue is the timing. It's not easy as buying stocks and selling stocks, which you could be done in a couple of seconds. Buying a bunch of Pokemon cards and selling a bunch of Pokemon cards takes weeks, if not months. It takes a long time for you to get all those cards, because let's say you purchase yourself 50 copies of the Iron Crown EX. One issue, that's a not tiny portion of the market. That's a tiny portion of the market. I know that TCG Player says there's like 100 listings, but if you purchase 100 listings, guess what's gonna happen? 100 more people is gonna list their cards because it's gone up in value. They're gonna list their cards. So just because the market says there's 100 copies doesn't mean there's only 100 copies. There's hundreds and thousands of copies of these cards out there. Even if you purchase 50 to 100 copies, you're buying a tiny, tiny sliver of the market. And it's gonna take weeks for those cards to arrive. It's gonna take you weeks to get all those cards that you purchase. And during the time that you hoard all these cards, the price could have dropped back down. You have to continuously buying every new card that's listed. And once you have all of these cards, you have to slowly list them one at a time and find a buyer. You can't offload 100 copies of any card at a given time. There's just not gonna be that one buyer that's willing to buy all of those at market price. Listing them one at a time is a very slow process, and it takes months. And during that time, you have no control over the market. It's just highly, highly risky. And anyone that tries to manipulate a brand new Pokemon card set, I think it's futile and it's so risky that it's just not worth it. And I mean, I'm probably going on deaf ears here, but if market manipulation is happening, I would say good riddance. None of these cards are cards that I'm picking up right now anyway. If you're picking up a brand new card a couple weeks after it's released, that's on you. Most of these cards' prices will dip back down over the course of the next couple of months. Within a year or two's time, all these cards I think will be incredibly cheap unless there's some big move that everyone says, heck yeah, I love Iron Crown EX. We gotta have a copy of that inside of our collection. It might go up in value then. That's pretty much my 2 cents. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think some cards are being market manipulated? And do you think my definitions for what I think is okay and what I think is not okay is correct? Let me know what your thoughts are, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching.